Hansel and Gretel. There were once two children named Hansel and Gretel, brother and sister, who lived with their father at the edge of a great forest. Their house was small. Food did not last long. When evening came, the cupboards were empty more often than not, and the fire burned low. At night, the forest pressed close. The wind moved through the trees and brushed against the walls as though listening. One evening, after the fire had dimmed, Hansel and Gretel lay awake and heard their parents speaking in low voices. They spoke slowly, carefully, as people do when there are no good choices left. They spoke of the forest. Hansel waited until the house was quiet. Then he slipped outside and gathered small white stones that lay pale beneath the moon. He filled his pockets until they were heavy. In the morning, the family walked into the forest together. The trees closed behind them as they went. As they walked, Hansel let the stones fall from his pockets, one by one. When the parents turned back and left them there, the children waited. Night came. The stones caught the moonlight, shining softly among the roots and leaves. Hansel and Gretel followed them home, step by step, until the house stood before them again. For a time, things were quiet. Then the cupboards emptied once more. Another morning came. This time there was no chance to gather stones. Hansel broke a piece of bread and scattered crumbs along the path as they walked. Birds watched from the branches above. By nightfall, they were alone again. When they turned back, the crumbs were gone. They walked until their feet ached and their voices grew hoarse. The forest did not open. It did not answer. It simply remained. On the third day, they came upon a small house deep among the trees. Its walls were made of bread and cake. The roof glistened with sugar. Hunger overcame caution. They broke pieces away and ate. The door opened. An old woman stood there, bent and smiling. She spoke gently and beckoned them inside. The table was set. The fire was warm. Soft beds waited. By morning, Hansel was locked in a small wooden cage near the wall. Each day, the woman brought him food and reached through the bars to feel his finger. Hansel held out a thin bone. The woman frowned, drew her hand back, and turned again to the fire. Each day she returned. Each day she frowned again. Gretel was not locked away. She carried water, swept the floor, and kept the hearth burning. The woman watched the oven closely, testing its heat with practiced hands. One morning, the woman grew impatient. She called Gretel to the oven. "Climb inside," she said, "and see if it is hot enough." Gretel stood still. She said she did not know how. Annoyed, the woman leaned forward, peering into the dark mouth of the oven. Gretel pushed. The door slammed shut. The fire roared. Gretel ran to the cage and broke it open. Hansel stepped out. Together they searched the house and filled their pockets with jewels and gold. They fled into the forest. This time they did not mark the path. They walked until the trees thinned and the light changed. At last, familiar ground appeared beneath their feet, and the house stood waiting at the forest's edge. Their father was there. Nothing more was said. Hansel and Gretel stayed. The forest remained where it always had.